we have a little bit of wilderness news. Mike kind of took a poll here and said, for wilderness, should we introduce tiered rarity, as in some holographic cards are rarer than others? My hesitation in doing so is it has to be balanced with the gameplay use of each gold card. And I don't want to force any perceived value on one beastie over another. I like when the community decides what the chase is. That being said, we already kind of do that with the bronze, silver, gold rarities. Maybe if we make the non-holo rares all equally likely to be pulled, tiered rarity in the holo spot would be okay. Leave a check to support tiered rarity and an X to not support it. Let's hear from the wonderful MetaZoo community. So it ended up being a resounding X as in no. 245 people said green check mark yes. Over 400 said no.
I think what he's saying is that do we want there to be certain rares like the unlucky 13 perhaps, but more so them having their own rarity, I think is what he's asking. Like, should there be more rarities to move up to maybe like a mythic rare tier, a card that everybody knows is much rarer. But what he's saying is that would become the chase card. Like up until now, Mothman was the chase card because that's what the community decided. Mothman wasn't one of the obnoxious 9. It was just the card the community decided they loved and was going to chase because it's Mike's favorite cryptid or whatever the reason was. Now in Nightfall, we don't necessarily have a chase besides Old Scratch, who's the secret rare, but we don't really have a card yet that has risen above the rest where it's like, oh, that's the card that everyone's after. That's the card everyone's hoping to get. And I think Mike likes that right now we all decide what that card is just based on which one we love, rather than him going, well, actually, we all know mathematically that is the hardest one to get. And so that's the most rare.
Okay. So really what Mike was asking was, do we want to introduce additional tiers?
Right.
Like you said, a mythic rare or something higher.
I think.
But right now, it's kind of organic that they're all pretty much the same rarity, and therefore the community's deciding the favorites.
Right. Right. And I think he really likes that. That's why he suggests maybe if we make the non-holo rares all equally likely to be pulled. So he's saying that like if they had a higher tier, maybe you could still get that tier just as likely in the non-holo. And it would just be the holo version that was much rarer. So he's trying to find a way to maybe introduce it, but we all voted no. You know, we don't really need it. I think MetaZoo has established an effective rarity scale already that we all respect and enjoy.
And it's kind of fun that the community does have favorites that naturally become higher value than the others. Like we talked about with Mothman and even going back to the NFTs with Bigfoot.
Right.
There's more Bigfoots than there are river dinos, but Bigfoot is the highest seller right now.
And I think that's healthier as a market, for us to be deciding what we like and what we want to be collecting rather than him telling us, here's what you want to collect.
This is the rarest. Go for it.
Right.
And I like that too. So he ends with saying, okay, let's keep things simple and vintage. No tiered rarities for the Cryptid Nation block, which my guess is he'll probably take another census of the community at some point. I just love how much he's working with us and allowing us to really be a part of this process.
Yeah, because maybe by Yokai, we'll be ready for another, not just rarity, but another power level of card. You know, maybe by then we'll be ready for something real crazy like a Planeswalker. We'll see.
Good point. Okay, along the wilderness line, we actually have our first preview kind of spoiler of this fumigator character.
I have to say, I feel like this is a Pepper DeLuca piece. After looking at it for a minute, it feels peppery to me.
That's what I thought too, immediately. We can't find any initials. There wasn't any credit given, but I totally agree.
Feels very peppery.
This looks like pepper to me.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Just looks awesome. I mean, I can only imagine what this piece is. A fumigator in wilderness. Is this someone that's like saving like the bees? You know what I mean?
The exterminator? I don't know.
That's poisoning something? Like, is this a good guy? Is this a bad guy?
Is it the candy man with all the bugs?
Right. Totally. We'll see.